In Haines, Alaska, Parker Schnabel, a young gold miner, was born to his grandfather, John Schnabel. John Schnabel was the miner's grandfather. His experience taught him the importance of putting in a lot of effort and the results of each gold nugget that he extracted from the ground. By the time he was 16 years old, he had taken over the family firm and started making deals with prominent figures in the mining industry, such as Tony Beets. He also had the ability to get land leases and demonstrate his capabilities on national television. He had amassed more than $13 million worth of gold by the time he was 25 years old. On the other hand, the high expense of pursuing gold was accompanied by the costs that were associated with operating a mining operation. The equipment that his team had to transport was so expensive that it might be compared to the price of some people's homes. These machines required continual maintenance, operators with specialized skills, and a substantial amount of gasoline. Another mound of cash was labor of some kind. When he made the decision to invest in Dominion Creek, he put $15 million into that enterprise in the hopes of receiving a return that would propel his career to the next level. The celebrity that comes with being on reality television comes with a number of benefits, including admirers, public recognition, and a consistent revenue stream that is not necessarily dependent on the price of gold. On the other hand, it comes with a spotlight that has the potential to make every failure feel a little bit more painful. As a result of Parker's investigation, he discovered that when the cameras are on, people are waiting for errors, which are what keep reality television going. However, despite the fact that his crew toiled relentlessly and put in 75-hour weeks, the weight of leadership was firmly on his shoulders. It wasn't simply that they were employees, they were also the ones who knew him when he was at his worst and in the gutter. Not only did he owe them a wage, but he also believed that this business could continue to function. His personal life was falling apart in addition to the strain that was being placed on his finances. It was during the 7th season of Gold Rush that viewers had the opportunity to become acquainted with Ashley Ewell, an Australian veterinarian nurse. He had been in a relationship with her. The termination of their relationship in the year 2017 left him obviously upset, and the fact that he was emotionally vulnerable in that way does not make mining any different. In the moment that Parker disclosed that he had declared bankruptcy, he accepted defeat, so revealing a level of betrayal that extended beyond monetary considerations.
Walk away.
Yeah, walk away.
I'm gonna go get a thermos.
Is there some gold here?
Yeah, we're gonna waste.
The stark fact that gold mining is unpredictable, hazardous, and may even be downright unpleasant is the subject of this narrative. The devastating disappointment that comes when you pour all you have, time, money, and sweat, into the land and the earth decides to keep its treasures buried is there. The joy of a good haul and the exhilaration of seeing numbers go up are only two examples of the emotions that can be experienced. In his time working in the mining sector, gold miner Parker Schnabel has seen a great deal of failure and difficulty in terms of his finances. In the gold mining industry, the highs are powerful, but the lows cause you to rethink everything, from the decisions you make in business to the relationships you have. Although fame can magnify achievement, it also has the potential to make defeat more isolated. Downsizing is not just about cutting costs. It is also about telling individuals who have put their trust in you that they do not have a job anymore. Parker may have to start making difficult decisions regarding his finances in order to do this. Dominion Creek presents yet another obstacle, which is the looming question of whether or not he will be able to keep things functional. In addition to the need for additional people, fuel, and equipment, the cash flow is beginning to dry up. There have been times when Parker's presence on social media has been a double-edged sword. While social media platforms like as Instagram and Twitter allow him to maintain his connection with his supporters, they also provide the general public with a front-row seat to his shortcomings. It may be challenging to deal with this situation when he is attempting to maintain a positive mood for himself and his staff. The bond that Parker has with his family, and in especially the teachings that he has learned from his grandfather, John Schnabel, is at the center of everything that is going on here.
Oh, you're gonna wheel me up?
Yeah.
Okay, anytime.
Parker has been able to persevere despite the fact that everything else appeared to be coming apart, because he learnt from him the qualities of hard work, tenacity, and perseverance. However, Even these lessons do not necessarily make it easier to accept the hard realities of failure after they have been experienced. The mining of gold is not just about gold. It is also about hope, danger, and the belief that there is something greater waiting for you if you dig deep enough. In spite of the fact that Parker has spent the most of his life believing in that concept, he is suddenly confronted with the opposite side of the coin. When there is no gold at the bottom of the pan, what are the things that happen? Parker is not the first miner to suffer a significant loss, and it is highly unlikely that he will be the last. The fact that Parker is accomplishing all of this while millions of people are watching is what makes him stand out from the crowd. All of the mistakes and failures that have occurred are now available for the general world to view. It won't be simple for Parker to take the next step. It is difficult to make a living in mining, and the financial losses he has sustained are significant. However, it is possible that there is something to be said about the manner in which he continues to get up, even when circumstances appear to be dire. When it comes to gold mining, tenacity is just as important as luck, and Parker possesses both of these qualities in plenty. Is that sufficient to have a positive impact on the situation? Time is the only thing that can tell. A Dutch gold miner, upon discovering that his stationary dredges were not going to get him to his aim, made the decision to concentrate on an abandoned trommel machine that had been constructed by a renegade miner several decades earlier. This is the story that centers around the Dutch gold miner. As opposed to transporting material to a predetermined spot, the trommel provided mobility and the freedom to move with pay soil. In order to return to base camp, the miner was required to disassemble and transport the trommel, which resulted in a daily expenditure of more than $60,000. The steep terrain and boat voyage made the journey challenging. One truck had a damaged tire and twisted rim, but the miner was unharmed. The crew worked hard to disassemble and transfer the trommel, moving the 20-ton drum onto a military tank transporter despite adverse conditions. During the trip, the truck got bogged in the mud and needed a backhoe loader to release it. The mining boss was pleased when they returned the trommel to camp after 3 days. The mobile trommel appeared efficient and flexible since it could handle massive amounts of material faster than anything else the digger had employed. As gold prices were at an all-time high, the miner relied on the trommel. The mining operator always thought long-term and took risks, and the trommel was a future investment. It helped him keep his business going despite all the challenges.
Pipeline to see what happens.
The mining veteran had previously spent over $1 million on a custom excavator to dig 9,000 ounces of gold. His prosperity came from smart investments and taking chances that others wouldn't. The Dutch miner was known for his tough management style, which was not always well appreciated. After throwing gasoline into a dredge pond and lighting it on fire, he was criticized and fined for environmental infractions. His harsh treatment of employees, especially during failures, often irritated them. Safety and the insistence on correcting mistakes created a high-pressure workplace. Living on a reality show made things harder. The prospector was scrutinized by the public because his every move was broadcast. The risk-taker knew his actions would have consequences, whether they violated environmental laws or mistreated his crew. However, he remained true to himself, took risks, took responsibility for his actions, and handled criticism. In the mining veteran's ongoing struggle to remain gold game leader, the trommel was just another episode. The risk-taker had always gambled, and this time it paid off. Mechanical problems and tough terrain plagued Yukon mining. However, his determination was unwavering. It was a gamble, but the trommel helped him meet his output goals and reaffirm his purpose in life.
Hoping, that you can give me another chance here.
I'm just nervous about whether you can pull it off.
Rick Ness, a gold mining worker, is facing the worst day of his life after his wash plant machine caught fire. After taking a year off, Ness is determined to hit 1,000 ounces of gold to regain his life. He works lean and mean to get all the gold he can from the valley, despite only mining 95 ounces at the beginning of the season. Most of the gold is not his, as he has bills, fuel, and wages for his workers. Rick's determination to get his life back on track is evident in his relentless pursuit of gold. Rick Taylor, a mining entrepreneur, is in debt and must pay back his landlord, Troy Taylor, to secure access to the mining ground. After a year of paying no royalties to Troy, Rick made a desperate move to secure access to the mines and pay him back. Troy initially expressed doubts, but Rick signed his camp over to him, promising that if he did not meet the end of the bargain, he would lose everything in his camp. However, Rick had problems, as after over 7 weeks he was left with only 36 ounces of gold. Troy had come to collect his first royalty payment on the camp, and Rick had been trying to get more machines and people for labor, which had cost him a lot of money. To extend his deadline, Rick asked Troy to extend it to the end of the week, promising that he would have mined enough to pay Troy 50 ounces. Troy accepted Rick's proposal, giving him a week-long extension, and they shook hands on it. Rick's crew relied on his small crew to deliver the rest of Troy's gold by the end of the week, or Troy could sell off his camp, ending Rick's season. The crew was feeling pressure, as Morgan Lauren, one of Rick's crew members, and Buzz, another machine operator, admitted to feeling pressured due to their short-staffed operation. In Rick's defense, he wanted the mining operation to be a success for everyone, including Troy, his crew, and himself. However, nothing could have prepared them for what was about to happen next. One of the machines malfunctioned and started burning up, causing a huge blow for the team. Rick discovered that the conveyor belt of the machine had moved too far in one direction.
Morgan?
Yeah.
Is that long flat bar?
This one?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Causing friction and causing flames. The rubber belts used for spinning the pulleys in the machine had also been jammed and cut off in half. With no running wash plant to deliver Troy 50 ounces by the end of the week, Rick's comeback hung in the balance. If they didn't have belts on site, they would be down for 3 or more days, which meant they would lose over $20,000 worth of gold. This was a significant loss for the team, as they could not afford to do so judging by their goal. Rick, a mining company owner, is in a race to deliver 50 ounces of gold to Troy by the end of the week. He orders new belts and hopes they will arrive in time. Buzz, a local scout, finds some old belts that are too short for their wash plant, so they decide to make adjustments to the tension rod between the motor and the head pulley. The team manages to make the necessary adjustments, and the wash plant is up and running. The team is overjoyed, knowing that Buzz's newly found belts will buy them some time before the belts Rick ordered arrives and enable them to get enough gold to pay Tori before the deadline. Rick has spent a fair amount of money up front to get more equipment to his site as an attempt to increase production. They must keep production running throughout the year to get as many hours of sluicing as possible to get as much gold as possible. However, their problems continue when the wash plant feeder breaks down again. The crew has to shovel out any remaining dirt on the feeder to analyze what is causing it to stop working. Rick finds a big rock stuck in the tail pulley, which is causing the feeder to stop moving. He pulls it out using a metal tool, but gets stuck between the metal beams of the feeder. Despite this, Rick manages to turn the machine on again, and the red monster is back in action. Although the production is up and running, Rick and his crew must continue mining to get as much gold as possible by the end of the week. After mining for as long as possible, the moment of truth has come. Lauren wishes they had mined enough gold to pay for the belts, Troy's debt, and snacks, which they were running out of. Rick, however, prioritizes paying off Troy's 50 ounces, or losing everything.
Get used to this, Rick.
That's good. That's what we've been putting up. But, you know, the deep cut's better than that, right? So this is from one day of running the deep cut right here.
After all bills and costs are paid, Rick has only 36 ounces of gold left, meaning he needs 14 ounces and more for him to continue mining. After weighing the gold, Rick's team has 15.24 ounces of gold, which is not what they had planned, but at least means Rick will keep his mining spot. Although the team is disappointed that they will get back to almost zero after Rick pays off Troy, they believe starting from zero is better than starting from negative. Rick Ness, a gold miner, had been struggling with seasonal affective disorder and depression since missing the Gold Rush Season 13. His friend Brian Z. Zaremba, who had been away from the show for a long time, asked him about his struggles. Rick admitted that he still owned his mother's house but had not been able to step inside for 2 years. Before Season 14, Rick shared an update on Facebook, admitting that he had made bad decisions that cost him a year in mining. He later revealed that part of his troubles came from recreational drug use, including cocaine. Rick had to sell his mother's house to fund his latest mining season. Rick's admission of his issues did not stop there. He later opened up to People magazine, saying that he was a gold miner with the stigma and didn't really ask for help. He also mentioned that there was a lot going on in his head, but didn't know how to deal with it because he didn't even know what it was. He had never dealt with depression before, and the whole experience was new to him. The words of Rick's girlfriend, Lise Marie, showed how tough it was to navigate everything alone and look forward to his comeback. As people empathized with Rick, his girlfriend, Lise Marie, had more to share about his issues. Lise Marie, a fan of the popular reality TV show Mr. Ness, has denied being the cause of Rick Ness's troubling behavior. She stated that she had nothing to do with the bad choices Rick made while they were together, stating that his issues had been present months before I even knew him. However, things took a dramatic turn just a month later when Lise shared on Instagram that their relationship had gone sour, revealing painful details about Ness's continued unfaithfulness. Lise shared her breakup news on Instagram, posting a bold text graphic with a message that seemed to say it all.
How's it going, Lance?
Doing good. How you doing, Freddie?
Doing all right. Good to see you. This
Rick.
is Rick.
Lance. Nice to meet you.
A mistake is something that happens accidentally. Cheating and lying are not accidents. They are choices. In a sad tone, Lise opened up in her caption saying she could no longer stay silent to protect someone she truly loved. She went on to share specific, painful details about Rick's latest actions, revealing the heartbreak she'd experienced. According to Lise, just days after Rick had proposed to her, he cheated on her with yet another prostitute. This was an all-too-familiar betrayal. She claimed that since they had rekindled their relationship, Rick had been unfaithful at least 6 times that she knew of. But Lisa's pain was far from over. After 3 years of what she called constant cheating and lying, Lise admitted that it took finding out about yet another infidelity for her to finally learn her lesson. Determined to stand up for herself, Lise declared she would no longer hide who Rick truly was. Her post ended with a heartfelt cry, "God, please tell me what I did to deserve this." With the ongoing relationship drama, Rick's future plans remain uncertain. His house in Wisconsin has not been listed for sale, leading many to assume he still has the option to return. Meanwhile, the ups and downs of Rick and Lisa's relationship have played out publicly on social media. Throughout this turbulent time, Lise has repeatedly accused Rick of infidelity, claiming he cheated on her over 200 times. Rick took responsibility for their breakups in a Facebook post shared in November 2023, acknowledging his role in the chaos surrounding their relationship and holding himself accountable for his actions. He expressed gratitude for the support he received from others during this time and stressed that he didn't need to blame anyone else. As Rick continued on his journey of self-improvement, he focused on becoming a better person each day. With such a public narrative of their relationship, Rick's admissions revealed a complicated interplay of love, responsibility, and the struggle for redemption. His commitment to taking ownership of his choices highlighted a deep desire for growth, while Lisa's role as a steadfast partner showcased the emotional toll of navigating such turbulent waters.